This is a 2015 Jeep Patriot with a 4-cylinder engine. This car is having a weird problem with this TPMS system, tire pressure monitoring system, which is we start the car and we put it in gear. Just put it in reverse and it's going to move it a tiny little bit. So it just chimed, and the TPMS light that you can see down on the right started to flash. It's going to flash like this for about 45 seconds, then it's going to turn solid. I've checked that all 4 tire pressure sensors are good and read correctly. I've also done the relearn of the sensors, and it was successful. However, when I go through the vehicle's onboard diagnostic system, it gives me some errors in the tire pressure monitoring system. And let's see what they are. So it tells me that there are some problems with the sensors that shouldn't be there. Let's check the live data. When I look at the live data, let's see, let's scroll down here to the tire sensor. So all 4 sensors are coded in. You see their IDs here. And when we get down to the pressures, it is just not seeing tire number 3 and tire number 4. Even though when we go through the TPMS tool, we see that these sensors are perfectly fine. So the way this vehicle's tire pressure monitoring system is set up is the receiver for all 4 tire pressure sensors is this unit. It's the wireless control module, and also combines the receiver for the transponder key, all in one unit. And there are no additional wheel sensors or receivers in this vehicle. That is an option that is available on the deluxe version of this vehicle, where it has individual receivers and it has a tire pressure readout on the dash. But this vehicle does not have that. The receiver for all 4 sensors is built in to this wireless control module. So I'm suspecting that there is a fault in the wireless control module, and where it resides is behind the dash where the ignition lock is. And in order to get to it, we have to disassemble the steering wheel, and the entire dash assembly or steering column assembly also has to come out in order to access that module. So that's what we're going to do in this video. After I install the new wireless control module, I will have to reprogram it for the car. Make sure you watch this bit and see what's required in order to program the wireless control module, because if you don't do it correctly, then your car will not start. To start, I'm going to remove this airbag, and the airbag has 2 bolts that come in from either side. We unscrew those, and then the airbag should pop out. This is the back of the airbag. It has 2 connectors for the airbag, and this is the connector for the horn. Now, should you disconnect the battery before messing with these? Strictly speaking, yes. And then these can be just pried off. They come right off. And same for this horn connector. It disconnects very easily. Here's the airbag disconnected. And did I disconnect the battery first? Did I not? That's for me to know and for you to wonder about. Now we have one more connector back here. that also is pretty easy to disconnect. And then we have the center bolt for the steering wheel. And then this steering wheel can come right off. The nice thing about this car, and there are not many nice things about this car, is you have little marks on the steering wheel and on the steering column to show you when they are aligned correctly, so you don't have to wonder about that when you put it back. Now, one thing that is not so nice about this car is there are no proper holes for a steering wheel puller. So you have to resort to wiggling the steering wheel, and for some of you this might seem impossible, but you need to have some determination in order to make this happen, and you do get it done, even though it's hard to do with one hand. But you should be able to see that this wheel is almost off. Now I need two hands to get it completely off. So now we're down to the clamshell, and the clamshell has two bolts that hold it together from underneath. One is here and one is here, and you need a long screwdriver to reach in and get them. These are the two screws, and they are Phillips head screws. And there is one more screw that you get from underneath the clamshell, down under here. So just to keep things interesting, they decided to use the Torx head screw on the underside. We're not done yet. The one screw that holds the wireless control module is buried down in there. And to get it out, we must remove the entire clock spring assembly with the stalks. And it is held in with one screw on this side, another screw on this side that I've already removed, and a screw in the front here, and they're all Torx head screws. And voila, or viola, or however which way you mispronounce that, we have finally reached this one retaining screw that holds this wireless control module in place, and now we can remove it. So you remove the screw, this comes off the ignition lock. It has a little prong on either side that you pry back with small screwdrivers, and then you have your connector right here that just comes right out. Now, you want to make absolutely sure that you have the right part number for this, and that is because there are many different variants of this wireless control module, and you must have the correct one for your vehicle. So what I actually did before I even started this, before I ordered the replacement for this, is I looked in with a camera, and I was able to read the part number, and that way I was sure that I was ordering the right part number for my car. Because if you go to the parts department, they won't know based on your VIN. Believe me, I've been through this with them. They do not know based on your VIN which is the right one out of about 8 different or 5 different wireless control modules. The parts department at Jeep will not know which is the right one for your car. Now we get to the good parts. I have the key in the ignition. The ignition is on. Notice that red light flashing there. That means the key is not recognized. So in order for the key to be recognized, I have to reprogram the wireless control module that I just installed. Unless I reprogram these keys, the engine will not start. So here's how I reprogram the wireless control module. First, I select the control module, and it's under the body. Here it is, WCM. I'm going to go in special function. I'm going to select WCM replaced. Okay, I have the ignition in the run position. So it asks me for a VIN, or a pin rather, and this pin comes from the dealer. You go to the dealer with the VIN and they give you a pin. And mine is 5860. And now I'm gonna enter it and press OK. Please confirm. OK. And that's it. Pin has been programmed. Cycle ignition key before starting vehicle. Guess that means turn it back on. Let's see if it starts. Let's see if it starts now. Nope. It started and died immediately. Okay, so let's see if programming these ignition keys will work now. So I re-enter the vehicle pin 5860. Enter. That's okay. Yeah, we know that's correct. Place key into the ignition and turn to run position. Okay. Okay, program another key. Let's do that. Here's the other key. Place into the ignition and turn to the run position. Okay, so we programmed both keys and now we need to cycle off for 45 seconds. We'll come back in 45 seconds and see if it starts. It's been 45 seconds, so let's see if we can start the car. Okay, so it's running. Let's make sure with the second key. Here's the second key. So both keys are good to go. Alright, both keys are working. Now I have to program the tire pressure TPMS sensors. The individual sensors IDs have to be programmed. And I do that through the TPMS tool interface of my scan tool. So far I've been in diagnostics. I've backed all the way out, and now I'm going to go in TPMS. Okay, I've got the vehicle information in here. I confirm that it's a Jeep Patriot. Now I gotta go around and trigger the sensors. So I'll do that and return to this. I went around and triggered all the sensors, and their individual IDs have been read into the scan tool. And you can see them listed right here. So now the next step is to write these IDs into the ECU of the car so that it knows what sensor is communicating with. And we do this using this relearn button. It's really pretty simple. And down here, OBD relearn. There we go. Confirm, blah, blah, blah. Okay, no spare tire, so we don't need to worry about this. And it's doing the communication to send the sensor IDs from the scan tool into the ECU. Here we go, it's communicating with the vehicle. And the OBD relearn has been done. And we are not done yet. We have to go back on the vehicle side and update the pressure thresholds right here. Okay, so these are all incorrect, and we have to update them. So this is for the front, and it should be 35 psi. And this is for the rear, and it should also be 35 psi. These are the pressures, 35 front and rear, that are shown on the door jamb. So we've got thresholds that are set at 28 psi, and we're just going to leave them there, and we're going to leave everything else where it is and say that's going to be okay. So let's go back into the live data. And I'm hoping that now we see all 4 tire pressures. Okay, the IDs are all correct. I've double checked them. But we're seeing 0 for the pressures. And I think we need to go and drive around a little bit for these pressures to update. So I'm going to do that and return. There's one more thing that is a little bit weird here, which is it's telling me that all sensors, sensor 1, 2, 3, and 4 are in Japan mode, which I don't really understand what this mode is. But we'll find out when we go and drive it around. It is 1 day later. The car has been driven on a number of trips totaling about 40 miles. So what we have now in the live data is only one of the tire pressure sensors is showing a pressure readout, and that is tire number 2. And checking the mode of the sensors, we see that this sensor that is showing a tire pressure, tire sensor number 2, is the only one that has shifted into park mode, while the others remain in Japan mode. And again, I don't know the meaning of this. Japan mode is not documented in the factory service manual. However, the good news is that the tire pressure warning light on the dash has remained off, and by now would have expected it to come back on if there were an actual problem with the tire pressure monitoring system. Not one to kick a gift horse in the mouth. If the tire pressure warning light remains off on this vehicle, then I'm happy, even if there are some unexplained circumstances in the vehicle data. And I'll try to clear those up at a later time. But from my experience, nobody knows anything about how to resolve these tire pressure status issues. So anyway, thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned some useful things by watching it. And stay tuned for more stuff coming up.